On Thursday, October 6, 1921, in the quiet town of Madison, New Jersey, 12-year-old Janette Lawrence had just finished her babysitting job and was walking home. But she never made it. And what unfolded next became one of the most disturbing and baffling murder cases in the town's history. Hello, back to left and passing back to another video. Today I'm telling you on the murder case of Janette Lawrence. But before we get into the video, if you're not already, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications down below because it's free and it helps me out a whole lot and you'll never miss out on another video. So it's a win-win for the both of us. But with all that said, let's get into this case. Janet's mother reported her missing after she didn't return home, and search parties immediately started looking all around the area. And soon after that, 2 Boy Scouts made a grisly discovery in Cluxon Woods. They found Janet's body laying in a pool of blood. She also had been sexually assaulted, her throat was slashed, and she had over 24 stab wounds all across her body. Her hands was also bound together with hemp cord, and a man's handkerchief was also knotted around her neck. The police were desperate to solve this case, but their investigations quickly spiraled into chaos. They initially suspected greenhouse workers because the hemp cord used to bound her hands together matched the type used to tie rose bushes for shipment. However, their first arrest was extremely surprising. 14-year-old Francis Cluxon became the primary suspect. He had been shooting in the woods that day, but he claimed that he was nowhere near the crime scene. There was no blood on his clothes or the pocket knife that he carried, and the lack of evidence forced the police to release him. Next, the police arrested a series of suspects, including 3 homeless men, all coincidentally named Frank. Frank Felis, Frank Ruck, and Frank Jancarek. And each arrest led nowhere, though Jancarek stood trial after a co-worker said that he confessed to the crime. But with no solid evidence, he was acquitted. A year later, police circled back to the original suspect, Francis Cluxon. But this time, he was put on trial. But once again, with no solid evidence, he was acquitted after only a week. And although the courts found Francis innocent, the town of Madison didn't. Media coverage painted him as the killer, and he became a target of public outrage. He was verbally and physically attacked every single time he left his house, and even at one point 4 men in a passing car shot at him. A local millionaire named Monel Sayer took pity on Francis and convinced his parents to let him adopt the teenager. Whenever I first read through this case, I thought that was absolutely crazy. In today's age, convincing somebody's parents to let you adopt their child would probably be frowned upon. But I guess in the 1921, 1922 era, I guess the mindsets like that wasn't the same. I just thought that was a little bit funny. But yeah, let's get back to the case. And while this arrangement raised eyebrows at the time, Francis moved into Sayer's mansion and began a new chapter of his life. Francis later joined the Marines, but troubles seemed to follow him. In 1932, he was arrested in San Diego for attacking 2 men with a meat cleaver and robbing them. He was just fined $50 for that attack. A few years later, he was arrested again for burglaries and weapon charges. And the case says that troubles seem to follow him, but to be honest, I think he caused the troubles for himself, beating men with a meat cleaver and robbing them, and just being fined $50 is absolutely insane. I think he should have got life in prison for that, but I'm not one to judge. Back to the case. Despite his troubled past, Francis married, had a daughter, and even inherited part of Monel Sayer's estate. But the question remains, was Francis Cluxon the killer of Janette Lawrence, or was he just a scapegoat for a crime that remains unsolved? And over a century later, the truth about Janet's murder is still unsolved. Was justice ever served, or is the killer still walking free? Let me know in the comments below what you think. This case is extremely tragic, and I hope eventually they will find the truth about Janette Lawrence's case. But as of now, I hope she is resting in paradise. And Janette is now laid to rest at Andover Cemetery in New Jersey, so now I'll go ahead and show a few pictures of her grave. Okay, that's me all for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. Also, subscribe down below and turn on post notifications if you haven't already, because it's free and it helps me a whole lot, and you'll never miss out on another video. So it's a win-win for the both of us. But I hope y'all did enjoy that true crime case of Janette Lawrence. I definitely enjoyed telling it for you guys. It was a extremely tragic case and very sad that her murder is still unsolved. So I hope they will eventually solve that and find out who the killer of Janette Lawrence was. But as of right now, I just hope she is resting in paradise, and I hope they eventually solve the case. But with all that said, I hope y'all have a great day, but this true crime case is left in the past.